What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G.S. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the October 26, 2020 edition of Raw Talk. So, of course, they always kick off the show recapping Raw from what we just saw minutes earlier. Charlie Caruso and R-Truth talking about what even ended Raw. Oh, the Randy Orton, Alexa Bliss, Fiend, and Drew McIntyre segment. The show was so, I don't want to say forgettable that I just forgot what happened 12 hours ago, but at any rate, that was actually a good segment. That was a good way to close out the show, I will say that. The rest of the show definitely needed some work. The whole brand supremacy stuff is just so weak, because no one gives a shit. But anyway, the first guest they have on is Elias, who had his new album released, I believe, on Monday itself. I thought it might have been on Sunday, but I think it was on Monday. The Universal Truth album. And I guess, this is a shoot, that it was ranked number 1 on iTunes for soundtracks. I'm pretty sure that's legit. I had seen WWE touting that, so I don't think they would tout. I mean, they've touted fake accomplishments in the past, but I'm pretty sure that's a real thing. I didn't check on iTunes itself. I probably should have, but I'm pretty sure it is. So if so, that's pretty cool. So Elias calls Keith Lee a cheater, and that the only reason why Keith Lee beat him on Raw is they faced off in a Raw qualifying match, or a Team Raw qualifying match for the men's team at Survivor Series, was because of Jeff Hardy's music. Because Hardy's music played, distracted Elias. Keith Lee took advantage of that, capitalized, and picked up the victory. And then Jeff Hardy attacked him afterward. Not Keith Lee. I'm sorry, Elias. That is. So Elias called Keith Lee a cheater, and Elias said, "Hey, a win is a win. I beat Jeff Hardy at Hell in a Cell." And technically, he's right. It's not like Elias cheated to beat Jeff, or he made the referee think that Jeff should get disqualified. Jeff went out of his way to get DQ'd. So a win is a win. Elias is absolutely right. He did nothing wrong. Elias won via disqualification. Hardy got himself intentionally disqualified, which was a dumb thing to do. But I guess Hardy doesn't care about winning the match. So they plugged the Universal Truth album. It's on iTunes, blah, blah, blah. I think he's using one of his songs from the album as his new theme song, which is kind of cool. I'm not in love with the song. I'm not going to go download the entire album. I might go check out a few songs here and there after we're done here. But that is pretty cool, though. So the next two guests they have on are Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. And Mandy says that she and Dana deserve to be on Team Raw. And I ask why. Dana says, I mean, obviously they don't want to answer my question, but Dana says in response to something from, Charlie and Truth, that they've been undefeated since coming to Raw, which actually isn't true. Maybe in standard 2-on-2 action, they've won maybe 2 matches together, maybe 3. I know for a fact they were involved in that Fatal 4-Way Tag Team match last week with the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, and they fucking lost. So you can't really say they're undefeated. I guess kind of in standard 2-on-2 action, but in the match that mattered most last week with the Tag Team Champions involved, they lost. So I don't really buy that shit for a second. So when Mandy says, and I like Mandy Rose, that they deserve to be on Team Raw, I don't believe that for a second. I can see Shayna and Nia automatically qualifying, being the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, but we had a Fatal 4-Way to determine the last entrant into the match. Why didn't Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke have to qualify? Because they're a tag team? That makes no sense. It's not like they're the Iconics or like an established team. They've never won the titles. They just recently came together. Mandy Rose is kind of like a big name, I guess, for that division, which is doesn't say a lot, because that division has some names, but not a lot of people like a Charlotte or a Becky or a Ronda, who are all gone right now. But at any rate, so they have, what was I going to say? Oh, with Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke is not a big name. Dana Brooke somehow always finds herself on these fucking teams for the women's tag team matches at Survivor Series. She has never been a sole survivor, which, I mean, is no surprise, nor should it come as a surprise, nor should she be, because she just isn't that good. She hasn't really improved all that much since coming up from NXT 4 or 5 years ago. The fact that she always finds herself on these teams, I mean, is she like a veteran at this point? Like, I don't really understand why she's always on these teams, because she's always like the first one eliminated anyway, as she should be. So what's even the point, Nonetheless, Brooke says it's their time to shine right now, and they're going after the gold at some point. That's their long-term goal. Their short-term goal is coexisting with the Women's Tag Team Champions and pulling out a victory for Raw, and why should anyone care if there's no stakes, pulling out a victory for Raw at Survivor Series. And they just want Nia Jax and Lana to get on the same page. Lana was the last person who qualified for the team on Monday night, and I mean, Who cares, dude? I mean, Lana has lost so many matches on the main roster. I know she won. Who did she beat? She won the Battle Royal a couple of weeks ago. But I mean, she is such a loser, and she lost to Asuka in 2 minutes? Last week, I was going to say a couple of weeks ago. I don't think Asuka was even. Oh no, she was on the show last night, but in a backstage segment. Not so much of an afterthought that Raw Women's Championship picture is right now. But at any rate, so they just want Nia and Lana to get along so they could pull out the victory. This team sucks. I like Shayna, but she has lost a lot since coming to the main roster. She's lost really whenever it matters most. So Shayna does not have that same luster about her that she did a year ago. Nia Jax is just terrible. Dana Brooke is not that good. Lana sucks. And Mandy Rose is good, but she's also lost a lot of momentum from where she was a couple of months ago. I don't know what SmackDown's team is going to look like at Survivor Series. It's probably going to be captained by Bayley. And other than Bayley and Bianca, I guess what do you put Billie Kay on there? Listen, that team might even be better than the Raw team, which is also saying a lot because that Raw team is pretty terrible. I don't know. But these divisions need help right now. Without Becky around, without Charlotte around, without Ronda Rousey around, these divisions seriously need help. I mean, the Raw squad has some talent, like they have Peyton Lacey, Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, none of whom are on this team, which makes absolutely no sense. Maybe not Alexa, but the other three absolutely should have been on this team instead of Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke, and Lana. That's a joke. The last guest they bring on is Sheamus, who also qualified for Team Raw, the men's team, on Monday night, beating Matt Riddle in a great match. They went out there and fucking killed it. I would have been happy with whoever won. Sheamus needs some wins. Riddle also needs wins, but I'm perfectly fine. I mean, Riddle looks so good in defeat, it really doesn't matter to me. Usually I would say, why is he losing? But it's Sheamus. It was a great match. It wasn't like that Keith Lee Strowman shit from a week ago. Strowman just does nothing for me at this point. Keith Lee's got a lot of potential. Riddle's been around a little bit longer. He's had great matches, and he looked really good in defeat. And it's Sheamus, who also deserves a bit of a push right now. So I have no issue with Sheamus qualifying, advancing over Matt Riddle. But he says it's always been about Sheamus. Since the start of his career in WWE, it's always been about him. And now he's got to look out for other teammates. Now, I'm pretty sure he's done stuff like this before. He was a part of Team Raw, I think, at bragging rights 10 years ago, and that was another joke of a pay-per-view, because this brand supremacy stuff means absolutely nothing. But Sheamus has done the whole, brand supremacy stuff before, but very, very rarely. So for the most part, he has, always kind of looked out for himself. And come Survivor Series, he's got to represent Raw, and in the best way possible. He flat out says that he wants the Intercontinental Championship, because they talk about him moving to Raw in the recent draft, and he doesn't state any goals for being on the Raw brand. Literally none, because all the goals that he wanted to accomplish were on SmackDown. The two titles in WWE right now that this guy has not held are the Intercontinental Championship and the Universal Championship. Both of those titles are on SmackDown. He flat out says here he wants to win the Intercontinental Championship and become a Grand Slam champion. Or a Triple Crown, I guess. I guess he's not a Triple Crown. A Triple Crown, Grand Slam, whatever. He wants to win them all. And he even says, again, they ask, what goals do you want to accomplish? He says when he wins the Intercontinental Championship, which he can't because he's on Raw. So again, I'm not really sure why he's talking about this, but this was notable. This was noteworthy. So he says when he wins that championship and becomes the most decorated superstar in the entire company, he will bring back Too Many Limes, his old theme song from many years ago that he hasn't used in over 5 or 6 years, which I love the theme song he uses now, but it would have been cool when he came back with the character that he currently has if he brought back the Too Many Limes theme about a year ago or earlier this year or whenever he came back the first time. And I don't know. I mean, that's not going to happen anytime soon, so for people waiting for him to bring back that theme, you're going to have to keep waiting because he's not going to win that Intercontinental Championship anytime soon. But he does say he loves bringing the fight out of people, whether it's Jeff Hardy, whether it's Kofi Kingston, Matt Riddle, Big E, doesn't matter. He loves to bring the fight out of people, and that's exactly what he did on Monday's Raw. And war is the most important thing to him, and he's going to show that come Survivor Series. So a decent episode of Raw talk. The Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke stuff. Anything with it's not even the women's segments on the show, because the Nikki Cross stuff was fine, I think, last week or the week before. Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke as a tag team is just so stupid to me. It feels forced. I don't care. The whole, can they coexist with the women's tag team champions? I don't give a fuck. Those tag titles mean nothing anyway, so I didn't really care about their segment, but, Elias' segment was fine, plugging his album. Sheamus said that was the best part about the episode. And that was it. That was Raw Talk for October 26, 2020. So check it out right now on the WWE Network. Check out all my other Raw Talk reviews in the description box down below. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content, including my exclusive interview with Jeff Hardy, mentioned him earlier, right here on the channel from yesterday. We talk a lot of things, including his move to Raw, getting back No More Words. We're talking about old theme songs here. He's hoping to bring back No More Words, and he plans on it when crowds return. Potentially going to NXT, his dream feud, his favorite match, and so much more. It's a really fun interview. It's up right now here on the channel. Probably going to repeat the audio on WrestleRant Radio on Thursday as well. So, at any rate, guys, have a great one. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.